Today, I wanted to talk about you guys. You figured a lot of stuff out the first year of business. It was like the fucking wild, wild west. And I was just talking. We were just talking on the internal podcast today about, and it's in this book, Blitzscaling, which is
I've read it.
Fucking
Reid
fantastic.
Hoffman's amazing.
Reid Hoffman,
one of my idols.
And he talks about you're a piracy and just no rules, raiding ships, doing whatever the fuck you want to do, and you eventually have to become the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have made that transition in the past 2 years. You've become more of a Navy because that's what resonates with the mining industry, and that's how you get in with these big mining companies. But there were a lot of good, sound principles in that piracy period as well that I think a lot of companies can learn from. So I wrote them all down and I sent them out to our partners. Like, this guy had some things fucking figured out here that no one else had figured out before this. And do with this what you will. I don't care if you think this is right or not, but this is like one of the most interesting case studies in the dirt world, period. It worked out pretty well for the most part. And then I shared it with Dan, and Dan was like, why don't you just have Keaton on and talk about it? I was like, that's actually a pretty good idea. So I want to talk about kind of those principles early days, and then we can talk about what the hell you guys have going on. Because I honestly don't have any clue what you guys have going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I noticed Dan Blazarian just came out with a book.
Did he?
Yeah. And
boy.
I think Rogan or somebody, pitched it, and maybe Rogan has the forward, and I can't remember, but it's about that period of his life. And I think, and I haven't read the book. I don't follow Dan, so I don't know, but it's what you're talking about to live through what we did in the first few years, especially the first year. If you'd have told me we'd have done all that and been where we are today, or even been still in business today, I don't know that I'd have believed you, but it was necessary. And I think, when you talk or when you read anything that Reid Hoffman says or writes, his podcast is amazing.
Sure.
You have to go through that. When you don't have anything, we had no brand. I had no clients. We had no employees. You have to do something insane. You have to do something crazy.
You guys did that, but within 1 year, everybody and their mother knew who the hell you guys were in the dirt world, which is no one's ever done. That's not ever happened before in the dirt world, which is why I think it was so effective, because it was so completely counter the traditional dirt world logic that everybody couldn't help but to, what the fuck? What are these guys doing?
Yeah. I don't know if you agree with this or not, but Instagram 5 years ago and LinkedIn 5 years ago was Manhattan real estate 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Organic reach is not anywhere near what it was 5 years ago.
No.
When you talk about, people doing something cool on LinkedIn now or on Instagram now, if you were trying to do BuildWitt now from scratch, it'd be so much harder.
Yeah.
If I were trying to pitch TMG on Instagram or LinkedIn now, as opposed to 5 years ago, the reach isn't there.
Well, and I think that's like, you guys were a part of it. We've been a part of it. We, like, when I started out, I saw what you were doing initially with TCI.
Yeah.
Like way back before the Turner Mining Group days.
With Dr. Dre beats on the
No, but it was good shit. You were this young guy in the mining industry I miss the old school Keaton, like laying out, here's exactly how I bid this job.
Yeah.
And
I got in trouble for that one.
But I was looking, I was like, this is crazy, because you can't find this shit anywhere else. And then I looked at kind of what I had going, I'm like, whoa, there's really no storytelling here. But now, after doing it for 4 years, it hasn't totally caught on, but
yeah,
there's way more companies doing it today than there were 4 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. I was on another podcast the other day as a guest, and I said, and I actually kind of pitched you. I'm like, people weren't showing dirt world stuff 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You couldn't even get a camera onto a site without getting slapped for it. And me also with where I worked and who I worked for, they didn't want information out. They didn't want bidding information out. Not that it is even sensitive information, but that's the way they grew up, right? Yeah. That you protect what little piece of pie is yours. And, I think, You've seen a lot of companies put it all out there, be super vulnerable, and they've reached a lot more people with that strategy than to try to keep everything close to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why you guys have been so successful in what you're doing. I mean, people want to hear the story. It's the 30 for 30s, it's the behind the scenes stuff on Netflix, that stuff does better than the headline stuff that, people put out. So I don't know. We just really leaned into that. No secrets, transparency, being vulnerable.
Well, so I have a list here, and I'm going to run it by you to see how accurate I am. So, and I called this kind of Turner Mining's early playbook, and this is all public information.
This is going to be ugly.
No. So Keaton Turner led the charge. So the highest level must be bought in and vocal. Mm-hmm. It starts with the top, and you've, like I said, but even before Turner Mining Group, you were showing people how the sausage is made, and you've been a little quieter.
Yeah, we can get into that. There's reasons for that.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. This is again like first year, but you were out there leading the charge. They positioned themselves as David versus Goliath, which potentially to your detriment. But as a younger business, you have to be taking on some
absolutely
bigger challenge. But then there's that transitional period where you have to become more Navy than pirate.
Yep.
Let's see. They had a clearly defined higher purpose. So people were showing up to work and they weren't just a haul truck driver. They were part of something bigger than them. They shared everything on social media, openly addressed their failures. You showed if a Volvo truck burned.
Yeah. Oh, you
take a picture of it and show it. And hey, this is what happened. Which is like, that's something has never been done in the industry.
Yeah.
Well, telling stories is one thing, but showing a fuck up like that on the internet.
Well, and it's funny because the largest mining companies in the world catch haul trucks on fire
all the time.
They flip them over. People die. There are things that happen, and looking back 3 years ago or 4 years ago, however long ago that's been, not long enough. Could we do that now and do it in the same way? I don't know. Part of the reason why you've seen me be quiet lately on social media is because, and I see it with these big companies, right? When you're small, when you're David, and there's the 100-year-old Goliaths that you want to go conquer, David has nothing to lose. Goliath's got everything to lose.
Sure.
These big old companies have built something. They've built a reputation. They've got everything to lose. Over the last 5 years, we've built a reputation, and we have a lot more to lose now than we did. So now I want to stay true to our roots. I don't want to lose that. I want to stay scrappy. I want to stay transparent. But I can see why these big companies don't embrace a failure like that. Either way, it's going to show up on Mining Mayhem.
Well, that's
it's going to show up somewhere, right? Some employee's going to take a picture of it and send it to their buddies.
Yeah.
Lean into the failures, though. Lean into them. We've made a million of them.
Sure.
And so I think the more transparent, the more honest we can be, the more people buy into it. It's not that Turner Mining is so good they never make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's that Turner Mining is just like every other company. They make mistakes, but we're going to share them. We're going to learn from them. We're not going to hide them, sweep them under the rug. It doesn't do anybody any good to do that.
Sure. I think that's key. Let's see here. You created an entry point into the industry with no prior experience, which I think is key. And that was rock truck driver.
Yeah.
They made working in the dirt world fun. Going to your guys' sites, it was just a blast.
We had good time.
Prioritized attitude over experience. They publicly recognized individuals for their hard work and success. You guys were calling people out. Hey, here's
the big checks.
Yeah, big checks. Offered plenty of upward mobility, which was worked with you and probably against you at the same time.
Yep.
Just getting ahead of yourself.
Learned a million lessons there.
Promoting people that probably shouldn't. Shouldn't have been moving up too quick.
Yeah.
Full-time recruiter to focus on your craft workforce, which is just a no-brainer, and I don't understand why people don't do more of that. Heavily invested in marketing and storytelling. Combined experienced miners with young, hungry bucks. Invested in the newest iron available. You wanted new, nice, pretty stuff.
Yeah.
And they empowered their people. You empowered your people to share online themselves from their perspectives. and you weren't all that nervous about what they were sharing.
Yeah. I mean, and you've seen it, especially on Instagram, but people are going to share all kinds of crazy things, right?
Yeah.
Especially the disgruntled employees, the Glassdoor reviews. It goes back to transparency. I want our folks to share not only the good, but also the bad. And I think in doing that, it makes people realize when they do share the good, it's not them even being salesy or anything like that. It's you get so much more market buy-in. And when we started, I wanted all the oxygen in the room. I wanted all the attention. Same with you, right? We
got it.
Yeah, we follow a lot of the same people, a lot of the same strategies and tactics. And how you get attention is shiny pickup trucks, right? Okay, so do I want to go put a brand new F-150 shiny truck on a mine site today after living through 5 years of putting shiny trucks? Well, probably not, but it built a brand, right?
Sure.
It got people talking. There's all kinds of little bitty things that we've lived through. Promoting kids too young. Every time I go speak somewhere, I tell stories of Albert. You've met Albert, employee number 1, training and teaching young guys, and then us promoting the young guys and the young guys failing and some of them leaving to go to other jobs. You learn so much by doing it. Every single one of those steps that you just read, spot on.
I spent some time thinking through it. I was like, how did they do that? And like I said, some of them worked with you and against you. Like promoting people quickly and creating those.
I think they've all worked for us at one time, and against us at another time.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it more in the last year and a half than we've ever seen it. It's been the last really probably 12 months has been the hardest in our business.
Why is that?
We had to grow up. And you've seen it, right? I loved posting. I'm a firearm enthusiast, right? I love posting guns on Instagram and being one of the guys and getting DMs from all of our employees. I love that. It was getting to the point though where I was going to say one wrong thing, or I was going to promise an employee something, and when I do that, I just circumnavigate the whole management team that I've put in place, expensive people, good people, because the owner DM'd a dozer operator, and Keaton Turner said I could do this. It was time for us to grow up because we wanted to enter in a different segment of the market. You can't enter that segment by being the cool Instagram kids.
Sure.
Instagram kids is fine. It was a phase, just like pink hair in high school is a phase or whatever. But at some point as a company, you've got to grow up, and it's tough, man. It's not, it's like the transition from 18 senior year of high school, that summer before college. You get to college, you go have a good time, fine, whatever. That first summer out of college where it's, you're working and it's real life and, the buddies are working. It's tough to grow up, but it's necessary. And I think there's a book called Life Cycles of a Business or something. I'm botching the name, but it talks about these life cycles, and they're all, each cycle is a prerequisite to the next one. And there's a point where these companies get to prime, and you can't get to prime without going through all the pain you're talking about.
Sure. Yeah, it's been a lot of, I've just been watching it from the outside. Like I don't really talk to anybody at the company these days. I've just been watching it and we've been going through our own issues. We're like right now we're really growing up, and at least my approach was, fuck everybody, this and that. Like, you guys are idiots. This is where the future is. And I might be right, but I can't tell those people to go fuck themselves because they're still very valuable and important in the industry. So it's, I've had to take a lot of steps back and be like,
It's hard as a young guy too, though. Like you're a young CEO running a big business. Same with me. No one teaches a young CEO, especially a founder, how to do this, right? It's different if you're second or third generation company and you watch somebody do this for a number of years. No one told you how to act. So when you, and I know you and I have got a little bit of a history, but when a client fires you, you want to say, you want to flip them the bird and say, hey, what, as you do that, and as you burn bridges, you learn, and I've learned so many lessons. I mean, I've burned bridges. We were going to buy this 374 excavator one time, and right at the last minute, the guy put like 20. This is a big company. This is a big Caterpillar dealer. He put like $20,000 in interest on it because it was an RPO machine, and I'm like, oh, screw that. I'm gonna go buy it from Carter. I hung up the phone, called Carter, bought a 374, and they had it on site the next day. And I pissed a guy off that I liked for my own ego, just so I could show Jake and Patton I can make a phone call.
You're the man.
Kill one day, and sure, you feel cool in the moment, and then a year or two, 3 years later, you're like, you just got to grow up, and the only way to do it, I think, is by living through it.
Sure. So no more guns and whiskey on Instagram.
At least not on that account. I might have to start a separate one. But, the Instagram thing's real. And I figured you'd ask because Patton told me here about a month ago. He said, the last Instagram post you made was the most corporate BS thing I've ever seen. I don't ever want to see that from you again. It's different. And I respect you so much for being as edgy as you are. And you're still younger than I am, but you still have more of an attitude in the way you guys do things than what we do. The last 3 or 4 management folks we've added to the team have been doing it for longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
So those guys don't resonate with the edgy attitude thing. The people that we're trying to go add to the staff who really help us grow up, they love the brand. They love the opportunities. They love, what we're hoping to go do in the industry. But you can't have that attitude and still get to where we want to go. And so I really struggle with Instagram particularly because I just know what I want to say, the arguments I want. I was just on LinkedIn the other night and somebody left a salty comment about our Komatsu gear. Komatsu, really, you bought from a Japanese company like WTF.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted so bad to respond. I actually had a message written out. And I just thought, you know what? I'm above that now. I don't need to do that.
Sure.
So it's kind of a want and a need thing. And I want to do Instagram probably for my own ego, but I don't need to do it. We don't recruit on Instagram anymore like we used to. We don't use it for sales like we used to. Instagram's more of a fun thing now than a necessity like it was 5 years ago.
Dan has really helped me out with the whole social media thing because I'll know what rooms I'm supposed to be in and what conversations I have no business being in.
Yeah.
And it's there's those people that and which is kind of the class of company we're starting to work with, these much bigger companies that have 1,000, 2,000 people, far larger than anything else we've ever done. They don't necessarily resonate with what I have going on, but yet it clearly resonates with a significant audience. And he always says, he's like, I don't have millions of people figuring out or listening in on what I have to say. So there's still value there. And it's like, okay, sure, senior leadership doesn't really value this, but your biggest problem is not senior leadership. Your biggest problem is entry level. Your biggest problem is entry level management, middle level management. Those are all the people I talk to every single day of the week.
Yeah.
And it's going to matter more and more and more and more. But also, they're not making the decisions today. And you still have to appeal to that group that is.
Yeah.
And I've had to step back and say, hey, I have no business being involved in this conversation because they don't relate to me. I don't relate to them.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something stupid if I'm here. So I'm going to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a job site, fuck off. And I'm going to let the adults do the business.
Yeah. It's a tough mental transition to make. I mean, you're spot on with your analysis because if we were going to run a company the way we had 3 or 4 years ago, where we hire people, send them all across the country, short-term jobs, and it's kind of a nomadic lifestyle for our young guys, we need Instagram. We've shifted to, we want to now be long-term mining partners and invest in a community.
Mm-hmm.
75+% of the people we hire are local to the site.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was 90+% of the people were, kind of transient in and out, living in hotels. And so we're not reaching the locals via Instagram. You're going to laugh because I know how you think about marketing. We're spending money on radio ads and billboards. If you'd have told me that 5 years ago, I'd have said, well, I don't want to be a part of that. That's not the kind of, I'm a sales guy. I'm a marketing guy. But you would be shocked to know what a radio ad does in Billings, Montana, and what kind of people you can get to call your phone and say, hey, I'm interested in what you guys are doing. So it's, if I let my ego get the best of me, I would be on Instagram. I would be very flamboyant. I'd be loud. I'd be all the things I want to do. It would not help our mission.
Sure.
It would not help us grow up. And quite frankly, if I'm being real transparent, I don't think it helps our team at all. I don't think me on Instagram saying the things that I really want to say helps our team mature at all. I think it probably keeps our team a little bit spiteful, maybe a little bit more of a chip on our shoulder than we really need anymore. Probably a little bit more of an attitude and a little bit more of a punk thing. It's a tough trend. And we're not, by the way, we're not out of the woods on this transition yet, right? We've been lucky to have some clients, some big clients and win some big contracts. And we've really transitioned. We've added some amazing talent to the team that I'm really excited about. But we've got to continue to make those steps. And it's a very tough process that you have to be committed to when you do it, because you've seen our organization turn over, right? All the management folks that you knew, probably a lot of them personally, 2 years ago, I don't know that any of them are still there. Patton, the young stud, Jake, we call Jake the cockroach because we can't kill him. He just celebrated 3 years. But everybody else, we've turned them over for one reason or another, and it's because of this growing up. So it'd be a lot of fun to stay an Instagram company, though. Maybe my next company is we just do that.
And there still is value with social. I think you've overcorrected a little too much, in my opinion. I think you were way over here. Then you, like what Patton just said, all right, you're Mr. Corporate now.
Yeah.
And I still think there is value to it, even if you're recruiting in a place like Billings, Montana.
Yeah.
Because social, like everybody's still on their phones. So if they hear a radio ad for Turner Mining Group and they've been seeing Turner Mining Group for 3 months on social media, boom, there we go. It still blows me away, the reach. I was in Saudi Arabia, and one of the excavator operators in the middle of fucking nowhere, he pulled up Instagram. First post was my post.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And he doesn't speak English. He's on halfway around the world in the middle of absolutely nowhere, running a 349. He's sitting there looking at my shit. And I had an immediate connection with him. And he was stoked to have us there. We were taking pictures of him. He's getting out of his machine. He's posing. We're taking his picture, making him look like a badass. And it's just amazing. It's that level of connection that would never be there otherwise. Even if I'm not trying to get something out of all this with my business, I think there's still tremendous value there.
Oh, there is. And I think the challenge, at least for guys like me, and maybe somewhat you, I mean, your business revolves much more around it than ours does, at least at this point. But the challenge for guys like me in social media is, where is the fine line? Like, where's the perfect recipe?
Yeah.
For just enough attitude and fun.
Well, it's constantly changing too.
And the environment changes, right? I mean, of course, I don't really care about cancel culture, and I don't really want to get political and argue with some idiot. Like, I couldn't care. Like, you vote how you want, I'll vote how I want. I don't have time to argue. But you can put some flavor or some of that spice into your personal social media.
Yeah.
I just haven't taken the time to figure all that out.
Sure.
I think there will be a time where we do. I think you'll see some cool stuff out of us this year that gets us maybe a little less corporate-y. But you also have to, as a company, I think you have to really quickly adjust to what customers are saying they want. And the customers that we started getting a lot of attention from in the last 12 months, as we brought some of these legit people on, they never come out and say it, but they are really interested in mature professional services companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to listen a little bit to what the market's telling us. And so you've seen me really take a step back. The company used to revolve around me.
Sure.
And I have a big enough ego to where I named it after me.
Yeah.
Similar to you.
Yeah.
No offense.
One of those stupidest business decisions I've made.
It was the dumbest business for a lot of reasons. But if I could go back and do anything over, it would be not name it after me.
Just say it's your dad's company.
Yeah. Most people think it anyway, right? And it's just, but you have to really listen to what your customers want and who do they want to do business with. Our customers, the big clients we're serving right now, I've not met hardly any of them.
Yeah.
Me personally. I look 22 years old still. I can't grow facial hair, right? So for me to take a step back and the company not necessarily to revolve around my image or my social presence or whatever has been a really good thing. Now, maybe I come out of the ashes in 2 years and I'm like Joe Rogan and I'm very loud and boisterous again, and that draws another crowd. Who knows? We just got to listen to our customers at that point. But people like Joe Rogan, you follow Andy Frisell. He hasn't posted in forever on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He does the stories.
Sure.
But I think his last post is over a year old.
Yeah.
So that's probably because of shadow banning and all that, which whole separate issue.
Well, and he said he's going on to he's building his own platform right now and is just totally in fuck this mode.
Yeah.
And we're in that intermediate period right now where we just talked about this morning too. BuildWitt used to be me. I was BuildWitt.
Yeah.
And now we have, over 50 full-time people. We're going to, 100 plus this year. And it's not me anymore. And I need to, and that's, we're again, just talking about this, I need to separate my personal brand. So I do still have a little wiggle room and still can say some things that I want to say in a tactful way, but aren't necessarily totally representative of BuildWitt.
Yeah.
So there's just a little degree of separation there between the two so that we can, because we do serve, I want to say a lot of shit. I want to say, fuck you, fuck this, whatever. Mm-hmm. But we do serve very conservative industries.
Yep.
And I want to, mining is incredibly conservative compared to construction.
Absolutely.
Because it's mining has dramatically consolidated over the past decades and it's ridiculously capitally intensive. And so it's just these massive multinational behemoths that really control a majority of the entire marketplace. Yeah. Whereas in construction, it's still so fragmented that you can get away with a lot more.
Well, it's, I'll never apologize for my love of firearms and my love of freedom and my love of bourbon and all these things. But I took all my firearm pictures down. And not because I'm apologizing for it, but because I don't want some executive at a big company looking at my profile and saying, oh, this guy is probably a little bit too much out there and it costing us $100 million contract.
Well, that's what people were saying. Yeah. And I was scratching my head. I was like, I go, all right, you guns, bourbon, this and that. But I was scratching my head. I was like, I don't know. I don't see what his play is here. But it was purely platonic. It was just fun.
Yeah, it was, and you wouldn't believe, especially when I've done 4 years of equipment posts. When I did the first gun or bourbon or cigar, whatever it was, and it was not business related, people went crazy. I got more messages over that than anything because I was human. I was real, right? I was someone they could relate to. When you're a CEO or a founder or someone that is appearing to run a big company, people can't relate to that as well. Joe Rogan's very relatable because of all the human stuff you see.
Sure.
And so I don't know. I think, people need to pick their battles, and it just wasn't a battle, at least at this stage, where it's just not a battle I need to fight. The value that it brings me now personally, one of the worst things that I experienced was when I had more followers on my Keaton Turner Instagram than our company had.
Sure. That's
when I knew we have an issue. If the company revolves around me and I die or I go crazy, I lose it or something, I want this company to live on. Yeah. And so, I've stepped back into the shadows. We've got a lot. You don't even see me on site that much right now. I went to a site here a while back and people just kind of stop what they're doing. And they think of you as like a mythical creature. How many people walked up to you and like, this is Aaron Witt?
Well,
this is famous guy.
Everybody plays it cool out in the field because they're all big. But so we have an internal podcast and we I think we've hired 13 people this year so far and onboarded 13 people. I think we've hired more by now. I don't know. I don't even know. So they come in and listen to the internal podcast, and I call everybody once they come in. They've settled down a little bit. Hey, how you doing? Just here to shoot the poop. And multiple of them said, "Whoa, it's just so weird to be talking to you right now because I've been listening to you for weeks now on the podcast, and this is just weird." And I'm sitting there like, I just don't even know what to do with that information, how to process them. Like,
you're just a normal guy.
Thank you. That's cool. I'm just like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a fucking idiot. And I just don't know what to do with that.
I was on a call last night via Microsoft Teams or Zoom or something, owner of a big company up in Canada. And one of his guys, said, "Man, I feel like I'm talking to someone famous, like a social media influencer." And I was like, you know what? If that's what I'm remembered for, I got to stop everything I'm doing right now and go do something totally different.
Every time I'm called an influencer, it's just like,
it's
I don't make any money on social media. That's what social media influencers do. I'm building a damn business here.
Yeah, I know.
So you guys bought a bunch of Komatsus, or
we bought them.
Deal with road.
It's one of those inflection points. It's and I think business and life are so similar, right? Where you get out on one knee and you ask a girl to marry you, and you're with them for the rest of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big moment in life. We were at the stage where, and we had a couple contracts that Ben actually was involved in some in the past, and we had a couple contracts where we were right on the verge of buying big fleets, big dollar contracts. It just, the chips never fell quite right. This one they did. It's a great client. It's down in Arizona, starting up a new mine. It's actually an existing mine that's restarting. And Komatsu put together a heck of a package. They had trucks available.
Sure. No one else does. Try getting a 777 right now. Good luck.
Yeah, they brought, I forget how many they had. Another company got 3 of them. The guy I talked to last night up in Canada, he bought 5 of them. And we got 10 of them. They're the last trucks that they're going to have for a while.
Nice.
Bought a loader from them. We bought a Hitachi hoe. But
was that 1200?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll come let you bang tailgates. Well, those trucks don't have tailgates. Yeah. So you can't bang tailgates.
No problem.
But you got to commit. And for a 5-year-old company to do something like that, without even my ego involved, it's a big deal to go bite something like that. It's very similar to what you guys are going through, right? You've got to make the jump. I've talked to some really wealthy people, and they've said they've got their wealth by betting the farm several times, and their bet.
There's just, everybody's so, they want to do it in this. They want the safe way of doing things, and they want to limit their, like my dad, bless his heart. He is a lawyer, and he is trained to just everything he does, just limit his liability,
risk avert.
And that's why I don't listen to a lot of his business advice, because it's like, I'm sending it right now, and you are a genius at law, and that's very helpful to me in a lot of cases, and it's helped me think how lawyers think. But it also says, like, I have to ignore a lot of it, because if I listen to everything you say, I wouldn't have a business.
Yeah.
Because this is just inherently risky.
You got to be insane. I mean, to do what you've done and to do really anything from scratch, you have to be a little bit insane. You can't make the most calculated decisions every single time. You've got to live in the gray sometimes. You got to take a risk.
It's all gray.
Now, you do the right math, right? Trust me, there's been plenty of contracts where we did the wrong math, or we picked the wrong partner or the wrong client. But do the right math. Make it a calculated risk, but make a risk. And I can tell you all the risks we've taken over the last 5 years. There was a contract we lost. We probably lost $2 million over the life of the project, and learned a lot from it. Would I go back and love to have saved that $2 million? Sure. It doesn't work that way. You learn the lessons. You take them with you. You don't lose that money on the next one. And the only way to build a business is by learning, trying, failing, learning, trying, winning a couple. It's just, you can't start a business or buy a business, never take a risk, and do anything amazing.
Well, but it's even bigger than that. You can't have a great career no matter what you do, without taking risks, without trying things out. Like this kid this morning, he asked, should I go be an EIT and engineer at a public or a municipality, or should I go work in construction? Here's the pros and cons. I mean, I don't know. Try both of them, and maybe one's risky. Maybe or hey, maybe you're in a good job right now, but you're miserable, and it is risky to leave. But that potential there is so much more. I mean, everybody we're hiring right now is hey. It's way riskier to work for us than this company that you're working for that's been in business for 50 years and is worth billions of dollars. Absolutely. But you're not you have a clear lid on your jar right now and you are rubbing up against top of it. And that is where you will be the rest of your career. Or you can come over here. Sure, it's risky. Is it that risky though? Not really. Because if this whole thing blows up, you can go find another job anywhere.
Right.
And let's try something and let's try to create something substantial here. So it's sure in business, absolutely. But I think it's really anybody.
Well, there's two kinds of regrets. There's the kind of regret where you regret doing something or you regret not doing something. I would rather do something, regret it, than not ever do anything and look back on my life and think, man, there are so many things I could have tried and you never know how it works out.
Yeah.
Right. I left something that was a very comfortable job with a family business with people I loved to do something absolutely insane. Had I known how hard it would be, then I probably wouldn't have done it. But you have to take a risk. You have to try it. I can't tell you how many awesome people we deal with that work for big companies that are super smart, 5 times smarter than guys like me, that are stuck in that company, will always be stuck in that company. Mm-hmm. They're gonna, 65 rolls around, they're gonna retire. Yeah. That's the dream, right? Everybody gets to retire. And they're gonna look back and think, man, I didn't do what my time is out, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't do what I thought I was gonna do. So I don't want that kind of regret.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing you guys going up to the bigger leagues too, because you guys have fooled everybody into thinking that articulated trucks is contract mining and is mining.
Yeah.
With a Volvo 750. That's mass excavation. Sure, you're operating on mines and technically it's mine services, but you and I both know the world of mining is okay, cool. Why would I buy anything but a D11? And you're buying D11s by the case, by the dozen, and it's just the drag lines we were just at, they move 25 million yards each per year.
Yeah.
140,000 yards in a 24-hour period they're capable of. That's big time, and that's the big world. And to compete in that big world, it's bigger risk, bigger equipment, more capital.
Yeah. It's funny when you talk to real mining people, and the market is so big. Mining is so old, arguably the oldest industry that's out there. Mm-hmm. When you talk to people in different segments of the industry, right? There's quarries, there's gravel, sand and gravel pits. There's big copper mines. There's massive coal mines, right?
Yeah.
You talk to people, 100-ton trucks aren't mining trucks, right? Those are rock trucks.
No.
You want a mining truck, we're talking 240-ton trucks, 400-ton truck, So it's so funny. And then, of course, you talk to construction guys, a 45-ton articulated truck's a big truck. Mm-hmm. So it's all in, you got to put it in perspective. It's all relative. I don't care who you are or how much money you're worth. It's all expensive. A 45-ton cat is an expensive truck. It's 3 times as expensive as a really nice Porsche. Mm-hmm. And we're putting 18 to 24-year-old kids in them and training them. I'm telling you right now, if I could go back and do anything, I would probably choose an easier job, an easier industry, but I don't know that I'd ever be as fulfilled. Mining is just, you're the first person to touch that mineral or that piece of coal or that piece of rock that's going to go into building something. You're the first human to ever touch it. The coal that those guys were uncovering last week, North America, those guys are the first people to touch that. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I've got a shark's tooth. It's, I don't know, probably 4 inches tall. We found it 80 feet deep, 100 miles from the ocean.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I don't know how old the thing is. The professor said it was 40 million years old.
Sure.
It's been underground for 40 million years. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff.
Well, and you're digging it all up to support the entirety of society.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand how dependent they are on mine. People don't understand that mining is still a thing. They think it's just this old school thing that is just this dying industry that, like, you want to talk electric cars, or like I talked to this big gold mining CEO, David Garofalo. He led the big gold merger in Nevada Gold.
Oh yeah.
Like the guy's a big time deal. And his point was, okay, cool. You want to do this whole green energy thing. That doesn't happen without mining.
Right.
That's all of that is materials and resources. And okay, cool. You want to build an infinite amount of solar panels.
Yeah.
So do you just plant like a solar panel seed and a solar panel sprouts out in the middle of the desert and you're good? No.
Wind farms.
Yeah.
Everything that's in a windmill, right? Where do you think that stuff comes from?
And then you want like a Tesla, for example. I mean, he was talking to Joe Rogan the other day. He's like, they don't even think they have enough. If you wanted to just replace all cars with Teslas, all electric cars, they don't even know if there's enough materials to do that. Which is a good question. People think this stuff is just made up. No, it all comes out of the ground somewhere.
Yeah, I know. And I think, there is a middle ground. There is responsible, clean mining. There is, ways we can do this better. I think a lot of it has to do with the social act. Everyone's talking in mining, everyone's talking about ESG. I think the S is the forgotten part of ESG, this social aspect. Like it takes human capital that companies should be investing in to get all this done. When we think we're going to, make all these trucks like robots that drive themselves and load themselves, and you just take the people thing out of it, it's never going to happen. I think companies that don't really consider the social part of it, training, investing in the local community, investing in, I think, young kid, there should be a video game for mining. There should Xbox, PS2. How fun would it be to be on a gaming system and it's all mining simulation?
Sure.
And it's productivity. We don't teach these young kids this stuff, so.
But to make it cool, people would need to die. And that's not cool with the mining industry.
No, it's not cool. But, you could put other KPIs besides death in there. Maybe, hey, like, can we hit 1,000 yards an hour on this loader? Make there some thresholds to get above. But I mean, yeah, it's a fun industry. It's challenging. But the people in it, I think, are so underrepresented and underappreciated. I mean, the stuff you guys are doing, even just going to the coal mines out there. Before you guys came on the scene 5 years ago, nobody was giving those people a voice. No one was saying, hey, you can go be a welder and make a ton of money. You don't have to. People were embarrassed that they didn't go to college and had to go put overalls on and work outside. Like now, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like walk in this office and seeing these pictures of these guys, that is cool. This is a hipster fun place. And you've got pictures of people on the wall that decided not to go to college.
Yeah.
I love that. I think we need a lot more of that.
Well, in the coal mines, we just went to North American Coal. We asked, so do you have a hiring problem? No, not really. Do you have a turnover problem? No, not really. These are the best jobs in the state. How much does everybody make? Really?
Yeah.
Like as a truck?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, I know.
That is, and then you have 7 days off every so often, and like you're only technically working half of the year. This is a good gig.
Oh, I know. It's amazing how many young folks will come out of college this year, come out of college with a degree and make half the amount of money that some of our people are operating equipment. And I'm not talking people that have been operating for 30 years and are, way up on this. I'm talking like entry-level folks making twice as much money as someone with a degree.
Yeah.
And probably, a lot less stressed. I would have to imagine a lot less stressed than some people trying to climb the corporate ladder. But, it's to each their own. I just think our industry is so underrepresented. And one of the things I wanted to do when I first started was make mining sexy, make it cool. That's half the reason we started, the Instagram thing. The other half was just get people to apply. But making mining sexy is not that hard. It takes a camera telling a little bit of a story around it and showing it to the world.
That's it.
It wasn't being shown to the world prior to the last 5 years.
Well, that's yeah, and everybody's like, we need to make the trades cool again. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, have you looked at what we do? It's pretty damn cool.
It's awesome.
Have you looked at this equipment? Have you looked at some? Yeah, yesterday I was at a steel mill, and it was a 20-year-old kid, with a torch cutting some chains off a 988 tire to change. I was, this is sick. This is just cool. It's already cool. That's why I've been such a big proponent of the whole authenticity side of things. Is just keep it pure, keep it exactly as is, because it's already beautiful. It's already extraordinary. And sure, is it also a fucked up place? Absolutely. Is alcoholism rampant? Is divorce rampant? Is drug abuse rampant? Is suicide an enormous problem? Absolutely.
Are you talking about Wall Street, or are you talking about the mining industry?
Well, I mean,
because it's both. I mean,
it's everything. Yeah. But it's a brutal place. There's a lot to make better there, but at face value, it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, and it's again though, you have those issues anywhere. You have them in any industry. How many lawyers or attorneys or stockbrokers or, I know some big wigs at banks that are divorced, drink a lot of alcohol,
sure,
aren't super satisfied. Like that is anywhere. And the fact that it has been given a stigma to the industry, whether it's construction, mining, whatever, most of the people that I have ever interacted with are happy, fulfilled people that love waking up and getting in equipment. Every once in a while, yeah, there's the guy that, probably stayed out too late, but you have that in any industry.
Well, and I grew up in Scottsdale, and I go back every once in a while, and there'll be these restaurants I'll go into, and I'll just be kind of gauging the social temperature and listening to the conversations, seeing what's going on. And it's just a lot of bullshit. And then I go out to a steel mill or a logging, one of Bellwether's sites, or a coal mine.
Those are the coolest sites to go on.
And it's just a different vibe, a different feeling. It's a different level of conversation, different level of caring between human beings. It is palatable.
Yeah.
How different it really is. And you'd think that, wow, this high society thing, those are the people that have figured out. And I just question that. It's like, these loggers in South Carolina, they've got something going on here.
Yeah.
And they don't have any of that.
Yeah. And I think you've seen a lot of this with veterans. You do a couple combat tours with folks, and they come back like brothers, right? There's videos floating around LinkedIn right now that I've seen that these guys have gone 10 years and haven't seen each other. I don't know if you've seen these videos. These veterans have gone 10 years and haven't seen each other. And all of a sudden, their spouses have arranged for them to miraculously meet, and it's like they're right back in combat, and they're old brothers again. I've seen the same thing with guys that are on the same crew for a while, right? Maybe they're in Arizona and they do 2 years together, loader man, dozer man, or truck drivers. They go to different jobs somewhere and they reconnect later. It's like a brotherhood.
Two little schoolgirls a lot of times.
It is so cool. And a lot of these guys and gals live together. They're spending a ton of hours together. And, do you see that in an office environment? Like, oh, I used to work with this person and now we've reconnected somewhere and I see him at a restaurant. Like, I don't ever see the same spark. It's like, oh, I used to know that guy. We worked in the same office together. If those were two dozer operators that worked in the coal mines together, it would be a totally different experience.
It's that shared struggle. It's so human that you're struggling together, and it's like First Form. They do it through their workouts, and they create that. That's, I think, why they have one of the reasons why they have such a high level of camaraderie when you walk into their office is because people are working out together, struggling together, side by side. They're working hard. And we have that just naturally built into the mining industry, to the construction industry, to blue collar trades. You're just naturally working hard, overcoming struggles with those around you.
Yeah.
And the office world doesn't naturally have that. And so you just have a bunch of people that, how you doing today, Frank? Oh, I'm good, Bill. How are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty good. What are you working on over there? Oh, I got this big project. And you just don't get that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But
totally.
I mean, shit. I got this one coal mine the other day, and this guy was so fired up. He was like, "Oh man, yeah, it was like negative 30 degrees the other night, and we had a problem with one of the dragline buckets. We had this big crack, and everything gets so cold it just starts to crack in weird ways. Got this big crack, and we didn't want to, usually you just leave it for the day shift, but we didn't want to do that. So we were out there for 12 hours while it was minus 30 degrees and windy, changing this bucket out. And by the morning, we got that thing up, and they wanted to tell us from A to Z how that process was. And then we were sitting there like, man, if only we had a camera there to just film the conversations and what these guys go through, because
that's a reality TV show I'd watch. It's cool.
We've got plans.
It's cool.
We've got plans.
I'm hoping you do, because that stuff, and I've seen enough of it over the years to know that stuff. And I told our guys this back when we were at Cupertino, when things were crazy. People would not believe the stories. You just wouldn't. And I know you've made a couple of visits out there. That reality TV show would go bonkers on TV these days.
Yeah.
If you could do it in a way where, obviously, you need to keep people safe. You need to keep the client and the whole confidentiality thing secured. But if you can really show what the people are doing, what they're going through, the relationships they're building, the nicknames they give each other, I could write a book just on the nicknames. Most of them I can't repeat on here, but it's just classic content.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we first met, you were talking about that. You were like, man, we can create this TV show and this and that. I mean, that's not a new idea.
Yeah. No, I think it would be killer. But again, and I know you probably struggle with this too. There's a million great ideas. Mm-hmm. There's a million different ways to go execute a strategy. I think there's a million ways to make the dirt world a better place. Let's pick a few of them, right? We can't do all of them at one time. Yeah. There's only so many things that our company can do right now. I'd love to I've got a black book full of ideas. The organization can only chew through so much, though.
Sure.
And you've got to pick and choose, and then you got to go execute, make a little bit of money, because it's really hard to go scale a business without making some profit. So make a little bit of money, and then go find some other strategies to go execute. But you can't do it all at once.
Sure.
That's tough for guys like you and I. That I'm pretty impatient, and I don't like the ideas that sit on the table too long.
We're still figuring that one out.
Yeah.
We're trying a lot of stuff right now.
How many meetings have you came out of where your team hears all of your grand ideas and they're like, okay, we heard all of Aaron's genius. What are we going to go do now? Like, which one's the priority?
Well, and
you had a list of priorities. Where does this fit on my already full list?
And I've learned to keep a lot of that to myself now, because it's like Echelon Front, they teach prioritize and execute. You can't have multiple priorities. It needs to be one. And we're still not very good at that. We're still not very good at prioritizing. This is the clear priority here. So I've had to, I keep a lot to myself, because it's like, I'm not going to tell you the whole big picture vision here, because it's just going to be distracting to you, and I need you focused here. Let me go think about the big picture stuff and be frustrated that it's not happening quick enough, and I'll deal with that on my own. But we've got big plans.
I'm excited to see them. And I've told you this since the beginning. I remember our romantic dinner back in, where was that? San Antonio or somewhere?
New Braunfels.
5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, dude, this kid's, I really think you've got more genius than most people realize. You don't see it in social media. What you guys do, unless people really know you, and I'm not trying to make your ego any bigger, but unless people really know you, they don't realize how special the ideas you have are in your brain. So there's no bigger fan that can wait to see what you're going to do. My biggest regret, and I've never told you this, I was looking at your pictures out here on the wall, and I thought about it. My biggest regret is the relationship that we had that we severed early on. I would be really curious to see what it would look like today had we done something different. So one of my biggest regrets, really.
Well, but
honestly.
At that point too, it was separation was good too, because we would have just kept throwing gasoline on the fire, and hey, it worked out pretty well, and we would have kept going in that direction, because it was working.
Well, I'm excited to see what you guys do, because I'm a huge fan, and I think there's a market for it. I think the next thing that you're doing, and I don't know how much you guys are already talking about it, but there's a huge market for it. I mean, it's going to be really cool, fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
But I I don't think of myself as all that smart. I'm in a very fortunate place to be exposed to so many ideas and listen to so many people talk about the industry and see it from so many different perspectives that I can just take all of that information and put it and think it over and put it into cohesive ideas and thoughts. And then we have great people to execute upon it because I don't do shit.
Well, there's a quote, and I'll botch it, but it's something like there's no better education than the experience of travel. And you get to travel a lot. You get to talk to a lot of really smart people with different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's so beneficial. I mean, it's so valuable when you, especially people that are in marketing and sales or operations, like these people, they're big thinkers, a lot of them. And especially the company size that you're working with. I mean, these are smart people. So to get little bitty pieces of the success ingredients is what I call them that goes into this pot that is Aaron Witt 20 years from now. I mean, it's going to be fun. I'm excited to watch it.
Well, stay tuned. I'll look forward to seeing that 1200 swinging.
You need to take pictures of your hair while you can, because if you're going to continue to do this, it's going to fall out rapidly.
I know. Well, but that's, I wrote about that the other night, is if I'm stressed. And a lot of people ask me, are you stressed? I'm like, I'm not really stressed, because I have a lot of that is just our people. But I've also built people around me that I just wholeheartedly trust that they've got it, man. Like Dan and Randy are. Yeah, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, we're good to go.
There's somebody says it's only stress if you don't love what you do, and that's fine. Sure, I agree with it. You're probably not stressed, at least in your definition, but pressure.
Oh, there's
me and in my world, because I'm pretty hard on myself, and we've got big goals. Like I'd almost rather take stress than pressure some days, because the pressure is big. It's real, right? Especially when you've got a lot of mouths to feed. We've got a lot of people. We've made a lot of investments. There's a lot of people I don't want to let down. And so I don't think the industry talks anywhere near enough about pressure and anxiety. And I know you've talked about it, probably more than anybody, but it's real. And I think a lot of people need to realize what the real purpose on earth is, and there's a guy that lives next to me. He always says, keep the number one thing the number one thing. The number one thing is not the career. The number one thing is not the money. It's not the house. It's not the jet. It's not the car. It's not even really retirement. So many young people are like, if I could just get my house paid off and get to 60 years old and retire, no debt, that's it. I've made it. My life's good. Look at those people, though.
Yeah.
They're not all of them. Their life is good. So, that's my little soapbox. Don't forget what the main thing is.
Check. Well, my main thing is making as much money as possible.
That's your main thing. I don't think that's your main thing.
No. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. It
was awesome.
We appreciate you.
Love the office.
Coming down here.
Love the office.
Checking
really
the
cool.
place out.
Really cool. I can't wait to see BuildWitt Office 2.0. Is this 1.0?
Yeah.
Or did you have a 0.1 somewhere?
It's always been my house, my apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were in Arizona before this.
Mm-hmm. And worked out of my house for quite a while here. But at 2.0, I've got big plans. And then beyond, I already have plans beyond that.
Well, if this is 1.0, especially for somebody your age, from scratch, this is as cool as it gets. I mean, like I told you before this, there's not enough people that have done something like this to appreciate what you've done. Sure. Even the people that work here, and I know you've got awesome people, to do what you've done in this amount of time at this age, coming from someone that's young and has had their fair share of challenges, this is amazing. Like, this is really cool. Even if it all goes to zero next month, this is really cool.
Appreciate it. I was dealt a good hand.
Yeah,
so
this is awesome.
Making the most of it.
No, keep it up, man. I love it. Big fan.
Cool. Well, that's Keaton Turner, everybody.
Thanks.